You're listening to the 65th edition of the Bitachon podcast. We continue. We're in Aris Hagra, some sections collected in the Batach Bashem Sefer that have to do with the idea of Bitachon. And the first pasuk that he brings us is a pasuk in Mishlei, chapter 14, verse 25. It says like this: It is good to put our faith in Hashem rather than placing our faith in human beings who are rich, human beings who are generous. It says the Gra, this is a very difficult pasuk to fulfill. Who can say about himself honestly that they fulfill this pasuk of having trust in Hashem more than we have trust in a human being? It says the Gra that there are two types of Bitachon. There are two aspects in Bitachon. Bitachon means that I'm confident. I have absolute confidence that Hashem is going to give me what I ask for, what I need. But the first is called Bitachon. We have examples in Tanakh, Avram Avinu, that Hashem promises the person He's going to give them a lot of wealth, a lot of possessions. Now, if you find that Hashem promised Avram Avinu, Abraham, He's going to make him rich. So for Avram Avinu to have faith in Hashem, to have confidence that he's going to get that wealth, that's called Bitachon. That makes a lot of sense. That's the most fundamental, let's say. If Hashem makes you a promise, you can trust it. But the second part, which is something that applies to all of us because we don't have a direct promise, where Hashem did not promise this particular person, for example, us. Right? And you can think about this in terms of other people. Sometimes somebody promises you something, and because of that promise, you have faith in them, and you believe that they're going to come through with the promise. Your parent makes you a promise, and they've always come through in the past. But there's a second kind of trust, of faith, of bitachon, and it's called chisoyim, chesyan. Chesyan, which is in this pasuk, toiv lachasois b'Hashem, it is good to trust in Hashem. It means we place our faith in God, even though God has not necessarily made a promise to us. He didn't promise us we're going to be wealthy. He didn't promise us that He's going to give us all of our needs. But we place our faith in Him anyway, just like if we're in a relationship with somebody, and we know that they've already provided for us in the past. I'm going to put my faith in Him again. Right? I'm going to come to my parents, and I know that they're going to take care of me because they've taken care of me in the past. This is what it means in the pasuk when it says it is good to put our faith in God. The word that it uses is lachasois. Choseh means to trust, but it means to trust without the promise. It means that the person himself places his trust in Hashem and his faith in God, even though Hashem did not explicitly promise him. So this is a better thing to do than to place one's faith in a human being. Even though the human being may have made a promise to you, and Hashem has not promised, so to speak, it is better to put our faith in Hashem without the promise, with just putting our faith in Him because we expect a good result. That is a better thing to do, says King Solomon. It's a pasuk in Mishlei, Perik Yudal, pasuk Chavav. It's a better thing to do than to place our faith in someone who has made a promise to us. Okay, Hashem is more dependable without the promise than a human being is with the promise. Because that's the first idea that the Gra teaches us. So it's very important and very foundational. We can trust in Hashem even without a promise, and that's called chisoyin. And it's more powerful than trusting in a human being. Then he brings another pasuk in Mishlei, which we've seen before together, because it's quoted at the beginning of the section on Bitachon of the altar of Navardik. The pasuk says, King Solomon tells us, trust in Hashem with all of your heart, and don't use as a support your own mind, your own intellect. This means your heart should be full. You should have absolute faith. Your heart should be full of the character trait of faith in Hashem, with confidence in Hashem. Not a bit. It's not good to have bitachon part way. To have the bitachon all of the way, out of sof. Shaloi Tamar, the person should not say, Eftach b'Hashem, I will trust in Hashem. But listen, I need to listen to my mind. I need to think about things intellectually. I need to take steps, take action. It's not enough. It's not enough for me to trust in Hashem. I need to also, think about things myself. Says the pasuk, no, don't depend on yourself. You shouldn't even use your mind as a support. The mind should not be used at all. Now, it doesn't mean that I can't look for inspiration in my mind and depend on Hashem to send me inspiration. That's how I would perhaps be magdir this. But the feeling that I should have in my heart, this is an emotional feeling that I should have, is that I'm completely in Hashem's hand. Now, the Gra, as is his way, so he gives a Kabbalistic aspect of this. Don't be scared off yet. We find another pasuk, it's later in Mishlei, that the pasuk says, my son, give me your heart. Give me your heart. So, what I'm about to say, I'm not 100% sure that this is what he means, but what I noticed is, one second. A person should place his heart, should put his heart on Hashem. Right? My heart, my emotions should be trusting in Hashem. That's the feeling that I should have. Hashem is asking us, give your heart to me. Right? The feelings, your emotions, put it in my hands. The Atayv Leiv Bechol, a person should have a happy heart in all. The word Bechol, I noticed, is the same letters as Libcha. Bechol means in it all. And the word Libcha is also the same letters, Bakol, in it all. A person needs to place his complete heart into one's faith in Hashem. A person should turn around his heart, should upend his heart. Like a person can feel down, and a person can flip it around, act as if, pretend, in a certain sense. Flip it over, turn your heart, put your heart completely into Hashem. And Hashem will bless you with everything. Now, these two words, the word kol and bakol, we find it in benching, bakol, mikol, kol, right? So the word kol represents a certain concept, which has to do with the 6 days of the week. The word bakol, in everything, is Shabbos, which is the concept of resting, of receiving all the blessings that we're looking for. So I think that what the Gra is saying here is that if a person in his efforts, right, we do things during the week, the aspect of kol, in the 6 days of the week, we're involved in stuff, we're taking action, we're doing things. But even in that moment where we're doing things, we need to be careful that it should be done in a way that Hashem is in there. Our heart is with Hashem. Hashem is completely there, bakol, completely there. And when we receive the blessings in Shabbos, in the aspect of Shabbos, when we receive the blessings, all that we've prepared for the 6 days of working, the blessings that we receive, Hashem needs to be there as well. We need to put into our heart the aspect of Bitachon, of trust in Hashem, that Hashem is completely helping us. So next, what I want to do, instead of reading the exact next section that he brings here, is I actually want to read from the next pasuk in the Gra, in the Mishlei HaGra. It's not directly, exactly speaking about Bitachon, but I believe that there is a strong theme of Bitachon included in it as well. And the reason that I want to read the next pasuk is because he just talked about Bechol, right? We have to put our entire heart into Bechol Libecha, your whole entire heart. Bechol, as I pointed out, is the same letters as Libecha. You put all of your heart. You place all of your emotions into your bitachon. And the next pasuk says, B'chol derechecha de'eu. It starts off with the same word. In all of your ways, you should know Hashem. Hu yeyasher orchesecha. He will make your path straight. So what the Gra says here, I'd like to read as well, because I think that it could be what he's saying is that when you place your heart completely into your Bitachon, into your focus on Hashem, into your focus on God, so the result is that Hashem is in all of your paths. But where does it come from? What is that knowledge attained from? So this is what the Gra explains, and I think that this is also connected to Bitachon, because Bitachon is not just acquired by working on it in our hearts, by thinking about Hashem. That is important, but it's also obtained through learning Torah, through trying to understand Hashem's will, trying to understand what does Hashem want from us. Right? There are two parts, there are two sides of the same coin, which we spoke about previously in regards to Yiras Shamayim, like the Rabbeinu Yana spoke about. The Rabbeinu Yana said that Yiras Shamayim, the highest level of fear of heaven, is where we are having Bitachon. That's where Bitachon, the faith in Hashem, comes from. But it's like we're walking up a ladder, and the top of the ladder is Bitachon. But in order to get up the ladder, it needs to be Yiras Shamayim. It needs to be through fear of heaven. It needs to be by trying to do Hashem's will. So this is an essential part of this concept. It says to Gra, derech hu begoli. There's two words for path here. The word is, in all of your paths know Him, and then it says, and Hashem will straighten your paths. So what are the two aspects here? What's a derech versus an orach? A derech, says the Gra, is something, derech hu begoli, is something which is apparent, which is out in the open. He explained this earlier. So what it means to say is, in all of your outward aspects, in all of your actions that you do, make sure you know Hashem is there. Make sure you know Hashem. It means do things for the sake of heaven. So there's one aspect which is Hashem is the one helping me in all of my actions. Another aspect is I'm doing this, the action that I'm taking, I'm doing it for God's sake. These are all ideas that come hand in hand. If we don't have Bitachon, it's not enough to have, ask God for what we want and expect it. That's a level two. But also that's the beat. This is a relationship. This is about me trying to do God's will, trying to bring Hashem into my life. So I'm doing it l'shem shamayim. I'm doing things for the sake of heaven. Whereas the word derech speaks about a concept which is a path which is out in the open. So the word orach, whereas Hashem is now straightening my path. Right? So an orach is something which is hidden, which is not out in the open. When it comes to the hidden aspects, if I am trying to do things in my outer aspect, in my actions, I'm trying to infuse my actions with bitachon in Hashem, faith in God. I'm trying to infuse my actions with l'shem shamayim, doing things for God's sake. Hashem will help me in my inner aspects. It's much harder in my heart. Right? It's really a continuation. We're talking about doing it with all of my heart. It's very hard to get my emotions on the side of my intellect. But he's saying, Hashem will help you if you are trying your best in your outer aspects to include Hashem, to do things l'shem shamayim, to have bitachon, to have faith, to do things for the sake of heaven. So Hashem will straighten your inner aspects that you won't fall. So he says something very interesting. V'hu, it says, V'hu yayash orach chasecha. What is the word v'hu? So in the word hu, there are three letters. Hey, Vav, and Aleph. Hey, the letter Hey, represents, he's going to say, the 5 books of the Torah. And the Vav represents the 6 books of the Mishnah. V'ayinin shehei Vav hu nigle. The Hey and the Vav, which are really the last 2 letters of Hashem's name, right? Yud Kei Vav Kei. Those are the revealed aspects. Those are the outer aspects. Hey chamisha chumshei Torah, Vav sidrei Mishnah. Right? We have the outer aspects of the Torah, which are the revealed things, the commandments, the description of how to do them. That's the Torah itself, and that's the Mishnayos. Ach yadua shebem gonus hasoidos. But the Gra says that there are secrets hidden within the Torah, the soul of the Torah. Shehu anelam, that which is not revealed. V'hu soid ha'alef. Right? You have a Hey, a Vav, and an Aleph in the word Hu. Right? The Aleph represents the spiritual aspect, the inner aspect of the Torah. Right? The word Aleph is the same letters as the word Pele, which means wonder, which means something which is beyond that which we understand. It's the secret aspect, the inner aspect. When you have the letter Hey, the Vav, and the Aleph together, so it teaches us about the aspect of the inner aspect, the hidden aspect of the Torah, and the hidden aspect of God's will. And it's also talking about where it's revealed, because in the Torah itself, right, we learn the Torah. We learn the 5 books of the Torah, 5 books of Moses. We learn the Mishnah, the teachings which explain and expound the Torah Shabbal Peh, which explains all of that which is written. But where is Hashem in there? Where do we see God in there? But when you have the Hey and the Vav and the Aleph, which is who, which means Hashem, where you're pointing, you're saying it is Him, it is He, right? So then, God is revealing Himself when we are doing things l'shem shamayim, we're doing things for the sake of heaven. When we are studying the Torah, the outer aspect of it, the Mishnah, the Gemara, these outer aspects of the Torah, so then we are infused with the inner aspect, which is the Bitachon aspect, the confidence in Hashem, the Shem Shamayim aspect of it, doing things for God's sake. We receive all of that. This is what it means, in all of your ways know Hashem. Kloimar, this means Da, He, Vav, Shehu HaNigla. Right? What can we know? Where do we see Hashem? Where can we know Hashem? It means we need to know Hashem's will. We need to read the Torah. We need to understand what is it that Hashem expects of us from the Torah Shebiksav, the Torah Shebal Peh. All of these things will reveal to us, these are the revealed aspects. Shehu HaNelam, Shehu HaNelam Shebehevav, Yeyashar HaDarachim Shebiskasya. So then by doing this, so then we get to have an understanding of Hashem, which it's impossible really to get to, but Hashem brings it in. Hashem gives us the inner aspect of the Torah. Hashem gives us the inner aspect of the mitzvahs, the inner aspect of our actions, which is as we said, the bitachon aspect, the l'shem shamayim aspect, doing things for the right reasons, and also he's referring specifically to the sidus of the Torah, the secrets of the Torah, the deeper aspects of the Torah, which we get as we develop in our relationship with Hashem. That's what I have for today, and thank you so much for listening. We'll see you again next time.